Well, I won't be able to see it. But you know, sure, it shows up. So I'm working on
Okay, folks. Okay, we're going to get started right away. So, let me get things set down. Minus E. Okay, thanks very much. Okay, so this is the last PRCAC meeting of 2017. So I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, a couple of announcements. The November 14th, 2017 meeting, our last meeting last month, we adopted the meeting minutes via email, and they are posted on the website, the county PRCAC website. I did double check with Suzanne Maldner, who is Jack's administrative assistant, and there's no issue with us doing it that way. We don't have to do it in a public meeting, and I think in the interest of getting the minutes information out as quickly as possible after each meeting, we'll continue to do it this way, right? So, these are doing corrections. Our next regularly scheduled PRCAC meeting will be Tuesday, January 9th of next year, 6 p.m. here at the Community Center. Just a reminder, as we've done in the last, I think now 5 meetings, tonight's meeting will be video recorded and posted on YouTube. The YouTube post can be accessed at the PRCAC County website. I have the address, the URL in the meeting agenda. And if you go there, you'll see a link on the first page that says click here for YouTube videos of the meetings. And also, just a reminder that the public can attend. This is something that we set up, I think, 2 or 3 months ago. Public can submit questions and comments to this committee by sending an email to comments@pointrobertscac.org. That email address is also in the meeting agenda. What happens is if you submit an email to that email address, it basically gets distributed to all 5 of us. Okay, we're going to make a slight change in the agenda here. We're going to move the open session to follow old business. And we're going to go right into old business, take advantage of the fact that Joe Rutan and Brian Walker are here to talk about Transportation Benefit District Fund. So I'd like to introduce Joe Rutan, who is Engineer Assistant Director, and Brian Walker, Senior Engineering Technician from Whatcom County Public Works. And I believe there's also another gentleman.
Rodney Vanderseipen, County Traffic Guru.
Okay, all right. That's the one that you're really cool like that. And Joe, without further ado, Joe and Brian, take it on. Okay.
I'll stand up where everybody can see and hear. Everybody catch our names and where we're from? Questions there? So I want to keep this somewhat informal. I think the main purpose tonight is to help you folks understand the process of how you're using your Transportation Benefit District funds and how that process funnels through the PRCAC and through the county. So if I say something that doesn't make sense, please ask. And like I said, we'll keep it kind of informal, make sure that at the end of the night you guys understand the process here. That's what we're here to help you through this. When we talk about tonight, basically I want to outline 3 different things here. The first is speaking to the Transportation Benefit District funds themselves, so the gas tax monies. So when they come in, there's a process that we go through in order to authorize the spending of those funds. We're going to go through that process with you folks. And the second thing is, how does the PRCAC tie into that? What is your folks' role, specifically the board's role and the community's role in making that happen? And then the last part, we would like to talk about potential projects. So if there's something that the community is interested in seeing improved, we'd like to know about that so we can work with you folks to make that happen. So let's talk about the first part, the spending of the Transportation Benefit District funds. I'll probably just refer to them as the TBD funds, just to save time. There's 3 steps to that. The first step is the county, we add line items to 2 planning documents. One of them is a 6-year transportation improvement program. And that is more of a long-term planning tool. It puts projects in the scope so that we can work through the feasibility of those and see if it's worth getting constructed. The second is an annual construction program. So every year we put a list of the
First year of the 6 year.
The first year of the 6 year, yeah, that's a good way to say it. It's our intent to actually construct and spend funds on those projects. We do have line items on both of those planning documents for distribution of, I should say, for spending, I think it's $150,000. And what is the actual title of that?
The actual title is, I'm trying to find it, yes, I believe it is Point Roberts Transportation Project, and we left it very, on the 6-year and annual, we left it somewhat vague, so that we can work with you and then go back to them with what the project is. I'm getting old and I can't read. We'll find it here.
Yeah, so it just says Point Roberts Transportation Improvements, and it is broad. And there's about $150,000 earmarked.
So that would cover basically anything that Point Roberts funds could be used for.
Those 2 documents were approved by Whatcom County Council. Just about anything we do is approved by the council. So those are, that is the first hurdle in spending money, is to have it on those 2 documents, and that is done.
Is that a replacement in terms of amount?
Somewhat, yes. Yes, if you decided to do a $500,000 project, you go in and ask for a $500,000 budget. It's a planning document, not a budget document.
Thanks.
And it kind of leads into the next portion of that too. So the Whatcom County Council has approved the 6-year TIP. We've got $150,000 allocated towards the project. The third part of that is the Whatcom County Council actually kicks off their councilman hat and they put on their Point Roberts Transportation Benefit District Act. So they are acting as that benefit district in order to make the decisions. In order to authorize spending of the funds, they approve per resolution an actual amount specified for a project. So you folks in the PRC will come up with a list of projects or a project that you are interested in funding. The Whatcom County Council, as the Transportation Benefit District, then would authorize that through resolution. That would establish a project with scope and then also an amount of budget in there. Anything on add on that?
You know, 2 real quick things. It's confusing. I appreciate people wanting to know about it and asking really good questions. Don't worry about it. This is what we get paid to do, is to get agenda bills written, get you in front of the council. That's what we're up here, is to make this work. Also, the council, they're the ones who have the authority to write checks. Us as Public Works, we're a recommending body to the executive, to the council. We're just a recommending body. And you folks are a recommending body to the council. And as I tell our Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, it's only advice or it's only a recommendation if it can be ignored. So just keep that in mind. A lot of times I will go in with a recommendation and they go do something totally different. Generally, they will accept recommendations and work with them when they see us, you folks, us as Public Works, sheriffs, the executive's office, we're all standing in front of them arm in arm singing Kumbaya, and we all are excited about doing this. They like that. They don't, when they have the same recommendation coming from it, makes it a lot easier. They don't want their jobs to be hard. They don't want to have two different competing things in front of them. So the goal here is to work with you folks, come up with something with the community, work with you through the community, work with us. We can come up with, something that we're all happy with. We go into the council, present it to them, make them happy about it, and we get something built.
Is it fair to say that Point Roberts isn't just a primary recommending body, but we're also the primary beneficiary?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean,
Not sole beneficiary, but primary.
certainly, and when they put their hat on, that's why they have to take their county council hat off and put their transportation benefit district commissioner hat on, because at that point, they're only talking about you folks. They're not talking, because when they're county council, that's everybody. That's even people who live in Bellingham. It's everyone in the county. So, yeah, it's very important that we get them to take off that county hat, put on the transportation benefit district hat.
Great.
And it's confusing. We'll help you through it.
So let's talk a little bit about how the PRCAC can assist in that process there. Your folks' role then would be outreach into the public, get input from the residents and the community up here as to what type of projects would be you folks would be interested in seeing happen. The county is here to fully support any type of outreach that you want to do, any type of projects that come in. We can be a sounding board to let you know whether that is feasible or not feasible because of ABC, and help you through that process. It's also important to understand that.
Question.
Okay.
How much do we get to spend?
So the current balance in the Transportation Benefit District Fund is just shy of $970,000. As of December 9th.
How much is going to be per month?
That I don't
It's
know.
about, I believe, about 65,000 a year. Now you have, when I hear 900, I hear $1 million around. Depending on the project, if you folks come up with if you come up with a project that is purely, what I'm trying to say is if you come up with a project that really is a benefit to public works too, you want to repave a road or something that we would have had to do, there's a good possibility that the executive would match some funds. So there's, depending on the project, if it's a project that is, has some merit, and, you certainly could end up with more.
Well, let's, if I may, Mark. I want to talk about that, because you make an excellent point. But I want to talk about, I do want to talk about gas tax for a second. I want to forget about gas tax. Part of your job, the majority of your job, represents a duty of care to the taxpayers of Whatcom County, of which we are. And I don't want to go down a rabbit hole where we erroneously commingle gas tax monies with what should be a regular repair and infrastructure upgrade program for the taxpayers of Point Roberts.
Sure.
And we have, let's keep the gas tax money off to one side.
What I'm saying, if you came in and proposed, you want a roundabout.
Yeah.
A roundabout's going to cost $3 million. You don't have enough for that. That might be something where the executive can say, we'll come in and we'll match that.
We'll get to that in a second. But is there a sheet of paper where you have a 1 or a 3 or a 5-year repair or upgrade infrastructure horizon?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do you, is Point Roberts on that piece of paper?
Absolutely. In fact, someone asked for that today. Were you the person who asked for that? No, we got
I
someone.
wish I could see it though.
Yeah, we have that. We actually track that pretty good because everyone in the county thinks they're the ones that aren't getting service.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, Point Roberts does very well. You're the only place in the county where we station an M&O person out here. We actually station someone here.
Maintenance and operations.
Maintenance and operations. We've done You know, we did a multi-million-dollar repaving of Tiny out here. So I'd be certainly love to give you that because it speaks very well for Point Roberts.
Why does it speak well for Point Roberts relative to other communities? Why do we do well?
You're
Is it because we're so much in need?
No, actually, your needs out here aren't that much. It's hard for you folks, I mean, just the reality of it, it's hard for you folks to compete against the rest of the county in transportation funds because you just don't have the traffic volume and accidents out here.
We have 1.1 million cars a year coming across the border,
I agree.
which is more than Sumas and more than Lincoln.
I agree, but when you look at the traffic data and the accident history, this is the safest place in the county. I mean, you have no 50-mile-an-hour roads, the rest of the county. And also, we're Public Works. So Public Works is, we're the one county, we're just unincorporated Whatcom County, we're not the cities. So our fiduciary responsibility isn't to the entire county, it's just to the unincorporated county.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
So when we look at, we have 961 miles and 161 bridges. You guys got no bridges out here? You have no 50-mile-an-hour roads? We have 50-mile-an-hour roads intersecting. You know, we just don't have fatalities, and that's a good thing now.
Should we kill a few people?
No, absolutely not. But you know, I'm getting ahead of myself. But there are some really good opportunities for projects up here. I mean, some excellent, especially because you're very much a community that is.
But you understand, we
people move around on
don't want
bikes.
we don't want to use our funds to underwrite
Absolutely.
county projects.
The types of things, and that's why I think it's great to have this money, because if, like, there's been talk about a shoulder down here, other, great. They build a shoulder down here and compete against the rest of the county, it just wouldn't happen, because there's places out there that have 3 or 4 desks that we can't get to. I mean, and you have to compete. So, yeah, that's what's great about this. The types of projects you're talking about here that we've heard are the types of projects we just probably wouldn't do unless there was some commitment. Now, once again, I just wanted to say that it started off by me saying that you have not about $1 million in there. Don't limit yourself to $1 million.
If there's some sort of maintenance activity that the county would be
Oh, yeah.
spending capital dollars on irregardless,
Let me talk about that.
yeah.
Capital maintenance, that's a big thing. This is really important. There's 39 counties, there's 39 county engineers, and there's an oversight board called the County Road Administration Board. And that road fund, that the PBD funds, the taxes, they all go into the road fund. I can only spend that road fund on 2 things. Roads, sheriff policing. So we send about $750,000 a year out of the road fund to the sheriff's office for traffic policing. So, the sheriff's office here is actually paid for circuitously out of the road fund. The traffic deputies. But then there's hear these words, maintenance and capital. The County Road Administration Board takes this real seriously. If it's capital construction, that means you're building something new. It has to be on the 6-year plan and the annual. If it's not, that's a gift of public funds, and someone's going to jail. It's a felony offense, most likely me. Maintenance is kind of weird. Sometimes if you take a road and we mill off the surface and repave it, that's capital because we put a new surface on there. If we chip seal a road, like we do most of our roads, that's maintenance because you're maintaining the surface. And there are 2 different things. Maintenance, I can just go do. I can call up my maintenance folks and have them go do stuff. Capital stuff, we have to go through this process. If you wanted to spend TBE funds on maintenance, let's say you wanted to, I'm just gonna come up with something crazy, we wanna sweep this road once a day. You could do that. That would be an appropriate use of TBE funds. But we wouldn't have to go through any of this capital stuff because it's in maintenance. All we need to do is get the county's council put their TBD hat on and say, yes, you can use those funds for that. And we are always fighting that. And the County Road Administration Board, they are very serious about that. In fact, county, I left the meeting last month where a county was in big trouble. And someone probably would be in jail.
Would it be fair to say that the rest of the county, outside of Point Roberts, has access to federal and state funds for improvements and roads? Because there's no state or federal roads in Point Roberts.
Which makes it easier for me to get rid of things. It's the federal when there's access. That's a really good point. Most of the grant access I have to is through the state. It's federal money, but managed through the state, and I can go after. I can go after those funds for most of our roads. There's a few roads that are such a high quality, they're federal roads, I can't use those state funds for. I also can't use FEMA funds after a disaster fund for it. I have to go to FHWA. So in a lot of respects, having non-federal roads really helps you. Especially if we have a disaster here, a flood or storm or something, FEMA can come in and help you. If these were federal roads, FEMA says that's FHWA, and FHWA doesn't do that.
How many federal aid secondaries do you have?
Federal aid,
Secondary roads?
secondary roads.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of that classification.
Okay.
My guru here can tell you all about our classifications.
We have like 4 different classifications. We have local access roads, arterial, major and minor arterial. And I don't know right off the top of my head, but if you want to know, I can.
We don't have any Point Roberts.
All these are local.
All these are local.
We do have, I think Tide is considered,
It's a T3 truck route.
yeah, and it's an arterial.
Right.
But in Benson and Gulf and APA, and then all the rest of them are local access.
No state roads, no state routes.
No,
Right.
Yeah.
Are you suggesting, sorry, go ahead, Mark.
Sorry, yeah, go ahead.
But I was actually going to raise sort of the point that Jeff did, but from a little more of a historical point of view. I'm glad you mentioned the multi-million-dollar repayment with IE, because that's actually, I think this is useful for the group to hear. That's the genesis of this organization, actually, because back in those days, there was no crack, there was holders and stashers, and I'm on tax players on that. And we got wind of the information or there, back at that point, there was about $300,000 in our fund, just kind of building up. And we got wind that Taib was on the 6-year plan. It was coming up to the top of the list. It was going to be done, and the county was going to save a little general road tax fund money by using the.
That's not quite what happened.
Well, this is my version, and
I can tell you the reality.
Well, let me finish my story because I think it's still.
But the story is just putting out wrong information.
No, it's not, because whether that was gonna happen or not, that's what led us to go talk.
Great, but that's not what happened.
Okay, so it wasn't going to be used, but we thought it was, and that's what led
Yes.
to us going and talking to the previous executive and saying, look, we don't think that money from this fund should be used for sort of everyday things that are on your list, and maybe he said it's not going to.
So what happened was.
But here, let me just finish, please. Yeah, please. And that's what, and we started naming a bunch of things that we thought would be nice things for the community, and the executive said, well, and Frank A. Mark said, well, that's all, and maybe you were there too. That's all very nice, but those aren't things that you could do with that, with the gas tax money, and that's what led him to, because we were asking for a committee for community involvement in making the decisions on the gas tax, and we were coming up with things that would never be funded by gas tax, and that's what led to the creation of PRAC. So PRAC, one of PRAC's basic functions is to make recommendations on the gas.
Absolutely. In fact, there was a previous committee to that. My first
Yes,
time,
it was.
my first time coming up to this committee, I was in my 30s. I'm in my mid-50s now. So I've been to this committee a while. And that was the previous incarnation, but that's not quite what happened. And I know that's the story that went around here, and it's a little frustrating because that's not, I won't go into it, but if you're ever interested in
Well,
the history of that, is that history that-
Kentucky was paved without our
Tiny?
the committee was created. There was a gentleman's agreement that we would have.
what happened was is we were going to chip seal the road. County was going to chip seal it because that's how we maintain roads and that's what we have funds to do. But we knew you wouldn't like chip seal. So the council at that time said, we'll go ahead, we'll not do chip seal on county funds. We'll go half and half Point Roberts funds, half county funds, and we'll pave it and make it look real nice.
Was paved before.
But it was a chip, it was a chip seal road. It was asphalt that had been maintained by chip seal. I can guarantee you that. And one year after chip seal, almost all our roads in the county are chip seal maintained roads. We were going to chip seal this. We decided not to. We decided to spend the extra money, use the Point Roberts to go with asphalt to make it look nicer. We also improved some of the intersections with base pavement markers. We ended up doing that all on local funds without any Point Roberts. That's why when you asked how we're doing, saying you guys are doing it real well. Because we spent about $1.5 million up here on local funds that we wouldn't have done any other place. We would have just chip sealed that. So the saying that we would come in, we would steal the funds, and we were going to pay it, no, that's not quite right. We were going to chip seal it, and we were going to use those extra funds to get you more, to do more, because that's not something we do. That's not something we do in any other roads out there. So that's a little bit different. That's a little bit different than what you were saying.
Okay, but back then, we didn't have a forum for us to have input. Now we do.
Right. Well, the forum at that point was supposed to be the 6 year and the annual and everybody, yeah. Which is another thing, because we're going to be doing our biggest project the county has ever done on Sunday. Starting this summer, we're going to be rebuilding the beach on Birch Bay. That project comes from a group just like yourself. Back in the 80s, people started wanting, it took about 20 years for them, that community to develop that project, get funding, and now it's going to happen. Really about 30 years. So I pulled that out as an example, that community as an example for you, because they did things like always showed up at the 6 year. Whenever there was the 6 year program in the annual, that community was there in the front row, reminding them of their project. And it was effective. And you should take lessons from that. And we're going to be spending $12 million to rebuild that beach.
And one of those lessons, I think, for this room, and some in this room, would be that I just spoke with the vice president of the Birch Bay Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
And the LTAC monies that they've received, right? They've done applications over the past 4 years. And just this last year, they received their first 6-figure funding from LTAC, which is the committee that actually funds chambers of commerce. $600,000 this last year, of which Birch Bay received $100,000, which gives them the capacity to support their economic base and actually have funds to go after these applications.
Well,
and year after year.
It was not
Chamber?
the chamber.
No?
No, it was the neighborhood subcommittee that they created a group just like the Birch Bay Transportation Improvement Group.
PBR.
No, that's the Birch Bay Water Aquatic Resource Management. This was strictly about transportation. And Dorley, Bruce, and they've been doing that for 30 years. I was going out and have gone out and gotten all the grants for that. I've gotten, I think, $6-7 million in grants for that project. But no, that was a community group almost exactly like this, talking about transportation issues.
Over that.
They chose a project and they stuck with it,
Good.
which has been the problem with our bicycle pedestrian advisory committee. They get a great idea, and then the next year they get a new idea, the next year they get a new idea. What I tell them is, you need to get a good idea and it needs to stick in your head for at least 6 years. Because that's how long it's going to take me to get it through council, get it permitted, get the funding. You know, we've been, since they told us to go on Birch Bay, it's been about 7 years now. So we're right on schedule for that. So, you know, it takes several years to do a project. So stay a group, pick something, stick with it, always show up, and it works. It's going to be a great project.
All right, so we'll just kind of circle back around where we are then. So we spoke a little bit about how the TBD funds expenditure works, and then, so now we're kind of leading into the conversation on how the PRCAC can support that role. So it's
Now you served that, didn't it?
We'll side on market. PRCAC should be working with the community, doing outreach, bringing in those project ideas, and then with a list of those and working with Public Works, we can filter through those and figure out which ones are feasible. It is also good to understand that those TBD funds need to be traffic related. So there's a whole list of different things that you can end up putting in the box as traffic related. The important part to that would be that we'd really like to see the consensus among the community. So if you guys get behind a specific project or a couple specific projects, it is a lot better from managing it on our end when we go to county council and to the commissioners for the TBD funds, and the community is behind us instead of standing up and, you know, we're still debating whether or not this is a good project or not in council chambers when that decision is being made.
Or when someone shows up at the council chambers at the public hearing and says, I don't like this, the council then can say, well, did you go to the meetings? I deal with this is classic Lummi Island. Lummi Island, I'll make your speed limits whatever you folks want. I don't care. The second you all agree. Do not get me up in front of the council to recommend a speed limit that you asked me to, and half of the island's over there and half the island's over here. Don't put us in, and the council hates to be put in that position. I've kind of told that too. They like us to all show up and be happy together, and if someone comes up and isn't happy, you know, did you go to the meetings? Yes, they were heard, but you know, this is what the community has worked through. Very important, because the second the council doesn't feel that comfort, they'll back right off. They'll say, you folks go work this out and come back.
So if that's a primary aim for the PRCAC in the next couple of months or years, in order to identify those projects, you know, the county is here, we're ready to help you guys through that process as needed, so feel free to ask. But we do need to get some concurrence from the community there. So just a couple then procedural things. Once there are projects that have been selected that you folks want to move forward with on a community basis, it's important to understand that, and Joe had alluded to this earlier, that the PRCAC is an advisory or recommending body. So they would make a recommendation, the public works staff would also make a recommendation, and then those two bodies together approaching the the TBD commissioners.
And our full goal is to make the same recommendations, to work together, just like, yeah.
So in order to initiate that, PRCAC would take the community input, write a formal request to Public Works, and that could come to myself and with Joe here, and then we take that under consideration. And at that point, we dialogue back and forth, and really determine, is this a feasible project? We can let you guys know, roughly what is it going to cost? What is it going to take to get the thing permitted and built? Consult with our traffic group and figure out if there's missing links in pedestrian safety corridors or traffic corridors, etc. There's a lot to think about when you start working on capital improvement projects. With that formal request, and then with concurrence of Public Works, then a resolution is drafted, put forth in front of the TBD to make that decision to vote. And if the resolution is approved and passed, then there is budget authority, and then Public Works can actually start working on developing those projects. And when I say working on the projects, that could be looking at project feasibility. It could be looking at the actual development of the project, or it could be construction and all the administration of the construction, or all three of those, hopefully, if everything works out. All right, so any questions on that process?
In your opinion, is the best way to go forward, rather than look at, taxpayers' dollars here and gas tax dollars here, are we best to look at sort of a joint commingled slate of projects, or a short list of 2 or 3 projects in which gas tax monies are married to taxpayers' monies?
I think you should come up with projects that you think need to be done without thinking about the funding. Think about what needs to be done. Funding comes after.
But tactically, is it a better approach to go and put our monies forward as a
Depends on the project.
as a de facto down payment or a deductible, insurance deductible?
It depends on the project, and if you come in and I'll use an example. You like what Birch Bay did on their and you said, hey, we want to do the same thing on Maple Beach. Well, we spend a lot of money maintaining Maple Beach. That's a benefit to us. We're probably going to say, that's a great idea. Yes, it is. It protects our road. You bet it is. I can rebuild all of Birch Bay Beach because I'm replacing the seawall with a beach one. I remove that seawall that protects the road and build a shore form. Waves roll up and roll back. That'd be an example. That's a benefit to us. Is that something you want to do? I could see, but that's where politicians get involved, not engineers.
When we're looking at, as a community, we're looking at the various projects and coming up with suggestions. It's one thing to say, okay, I'd like shoulder on this street or something on the beach there, but that's only part of that choice that this community has to make, right? The other part is how much is it going to cost?
Yeah.
What kind of permits are going to be required? What are the other ramifications, and
Right.
what else is going to be affected? As I understood what you were saying, the idea was for this community to come up with a recommendation, and then the research starts about the costs and the permits and things like that. Is there something in between so we can, when we decide what we want, we know we're deciding on the most efficient thing?
I guess it's tough for me to understand my position. I can't make a commitment for a politician. The only people that have authority to spend county funds are 4 council members have to agree. So if 4 council members agree to fund something, then it's done. If 4 council members don't agree, it's not. So it comes down to that. Certainly if we're in front of them making a recommendation. If you folks, I got hired in this job 15 years ago because I went in, I was born and raised here, and said, look, the first county engineer scratched out roads, the second paved them. I'm not going to build new roads. My job is to get shoulders on the roads we have. The number one thing I can do to make county roads safer is get what's called the clear zone and recovery area. That's a fancy engineering term for a shoulder. And then if you can pave that shoulder, then you got a place for people to walk. That's what we can do to make things safe. So, just, that's for the whole county. I'll also tell you that. The number one thing you can do to make the roads safer up here, get shoulders on, paved shoulders. Paved shoulders, when you say paved shoulder, you all heard asphalt. We heard a drainage project. Because when you add 5,000 square feet of impervious surface, which is about 1,000 feet of sidewalk or shoulder maybe, now you have to treat and detain all the stormwater coming off of it. And since that's attached to a road that has no current stormwater drainage or treatment, we have to treat the whole road. So we'll have to buy a piece of property, put a pond in, swales, pipes, everything. So like paving AP, putting a shoulder on APWA, great idea. I fully support it. Just be aware, that's a drainage project. By the way, when we're done, there'll be a paved shoulder. The cost, the permitting, the right-of-way, the engineering will all go into the drainage because that's what will be taught.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah.
Is that when we sitting around thinking about, oh, what would be great to have this project or that project, we don't know that.
Yeah, then you talk. That's why we're here. That's why we're here to work with you. We've assigned Brian. He's a highly skilled engineering tech. He can do these things. He can go back to his office. He can sit down, sketch up stuff. We can send survey crews out to look. Yeah, we have to. When you have an idea, talk to us. We'll flesh it out. See, is this feasibility?
Is there a small area around Lighthouse Park that's been under discussion for a long time to improve the shoulder, whether paved or not paved, but maybe preferably paved? Is that small enough that it would not trigger it into a drainage?
The problem with that one is the permitting issue with that is it's right next to the ocean, so it requires what's called a critical area shoreline permit. And
I think it's within 200 yards.
that's going to require a shoreline permit. Any work down
How
here.
many feet is that from the ocean?
Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, 3 inches out. But it'll be a permitting issue. We drove it before we got here. The thing that scares me about that is the shoreline permitting, and then also some of the most difficult things we deal with is not wetlands, it's mailboxes, driveways, and people's front yard landscaping. That is by far the most difficult thing to deal with. Permitting agencies have to give you a permit. You're just talking about what you need to do to get it.
Well, if you're only from Lighthouse Park, there's no driveways.
All these houses along here.
No, I don't think that was a.
Okay.
Yeah, the proposal.
Well, yeah, it was. When we went out there, and I've been up here 3 times now to meet with people from this committee to talk about this project. The first 2 times it was on the inside, the water side, and one time it was, and sometimes it's paved, sometimes it's not. So
There's no mailboxes really if you follow along the park. And you have to negotiate with the park.
yeah.
So what, we want,
And then the other thing to connect to, the sidewalk up here to connect to is on the inland side too.
With that being a project that would potentially be on the table and feasible, we would spend staff time in order to develop that project to the point where we could present it to you and say, okay, these are the pros, these are the cons, these are the things that we would have to work through. This would be an approximate planning level cost.
If you really wanted to move on that, we'd probably send a survey crew up, survey it, and probably come up here and meet with the shorelines people. We'd probably ask you to meet with some of the neighbors down there that we'd impact and flesh it out and see if it's something that is feasible.
One of the things I noticed living up here, our ditches are awfully deep.
Yeah.
And they don't meet any kind of standard that I've ever seen working in transportation. And so if you had shallower ditches and used arched pipes, you probably could have gain a lot of ground for shoulders.
You hit something. Those ditches are not that deep to drain our road. Those ditches are that deep to drain the property, private property. Go around Whatcom County, we have 10-foot ditches out there because this county developed by, hey farmer, please move here and farm. And if you can get your water to our ditch, we'll take care of it. That ditch needs to be that deep for the road. It needs to be that deep to keep the property, the houses around there from flooding. Those ditches are there to drain the property, not the road.
Yeah, but the culverts, I've noticed, are pretty much daisy chained all the way through, they don't change size. So regardless of how much water they're capturing as it goes over.
And if we were building new roads, if we were starting from scratch, the roads wouldn't look like they do up here. You know, they'd be very different. And I agree with you, we have ditches out there that are 10 feet deep. Lane Road, fog line, 10-foot deep ditch with a hole in the ditch.
That was developed when the marina and the.
Exactly, yeah.
And some of that can be enclosed as long as you do have culvert down below, and then you can have a shallow soil above to get the road drainage off. But you do need to check the feasibility that you're not going to leave somebody high and dry trying to drain off the property or their roof drain.
The other thing is, the driveway culverts, we don't own those.
No, but
They're put in by the people, and then people put them in, and they put them in at all different heights.
and we use our culverts around here. We need to fill or,
But this discussion should be held separately. If we're
Yes,
going to be talking about projects,
Joe and Brian, let me interrupt a second here. Hold on. So, where are you in what you want to present?
So I have covered-
to get through what you want to present and then get to the talk about projects, because I feel like we're kind of like digressing a lot here, okay?
And we're kind of blending it a little bit. I basically have covered what I want you so that you folks understand the basics of how is the expenditure of the TBD funds allocated, and then the PRC's role in that, and then it is just moving into the project. So I was going to just outline a couple of the projects that have been currently brought to the county's attention. We have done some alternative analysis on a few of them, and with time permitting, I'll probably go over those just real briefly, and then let's just open it up to additional projects that you folks want to throw out.
Once again, these are ones that you folks brought us. We didn't think these up. It was you came up with the project, asked us to look into it, and so this is a good example of what we're talking about.
So this document here, back in August of 2015, PRCAC requested us to look at the feasibility of improvements at the Tyhee Drive and Benson Road. So I know this is a little small for everybody in the back there, but down here, and then additional improvements over at Marine and Gulf. And it was kind of broad brush, and it was an alternative analysis just to put some dollars to different scales of projects. So we looked at...
Also not using TBD funds, but using just county funds.
Yeah, county funds actually ended up just spending the dollars here to come up with the alternative analysis, is what Joe's saying there. So I will just tell you the improvements here. So they looked at what's called a compact roundabout. So if anybody has driven the I-5 corridor by Slater Road, it's using the existing footprint of the intersection, putting a small traffic island in there, and with some new signage, a small compact roundabout that's going to slow traffic down and help alleviate some of the traffic congestion. So that was one of the things that PRCAC wanted us to look at both of those intersections. And it comes to be about $200,000 improvement. That's the sticker price on something. And that leaves out things like additional permitting or right-of-way takes or anything like that. But within the existing footprint of the intersection, you could probably do that for around $200,000 to $250,000.
No lighting, no pedestrian facilities, just very simple structure.
Yeah, the ones the state did at the Slater Road I-5 intersection, I think they showed up one evening at 6 o'clock and paved them out and they were gone. And then people showed up the next morning and voila, there's a compact roundabout. The second improvement was a full-size roundabout. So you guys have probably seen these around the county. A large island with a mountable type curb and a lot of signage, maybe chicanes, which is the improvement that would slow the traffic down, maybe the 500-600 feet preceding the intersection. That's a big improvement.
Sidewalk and lighting.
Yeah, it's a whole reconstruction of the intersection. It probably is going to trigger right-of-way takes. If there's wetlands in the area, you could have mitigation. There's a lot involved there. And the sticker price on an improvement like that is probably about $2.5 million. The third one was a signalized intersection, and then specifically with a left-hand turn movement, I think up at the Benson and Johnson Road there. And that is taking away the stop signs, the stop sign controlled intersection that is there now, and widening the road out so that there can be dedicated turn lanes, poles with mast arms and stoplights and traffic controllers and all the bells and whistles for that type of intersection. And probably some illumination and other things. And that comes in similar in magnitude of price of about $2.5 million for a full channelized intersection. And again, that's unknowns on right-of-way and critical areas and some of the other things. And then the last thing that the PRCAC asked us to look at would be maybe just some minor safety improvements to increase intersection awareness. They have expressed some concerns with maybe some pedestrian vehicle conflicts, maybe some sight distance issues at these intersections. And we're looking there at, in order just to increase intersection awareness, you might have seen the new stop signs that are surrounded by flashing LED lights, and they can be either 120 volts or solar powered, and then that's visually seen by the drivers well ahead, and it indicates that stop sign is there. And then maybe in conjunction with that would be some rumble strips, some profile type rumble strips. So as drivers approach the intersection, you're actually going to hit this profile to the road, you get that thump, 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 thump on your wheels.
And we have that at the intersection of Slater and Northwest right now, if you wanted to see an example of that.
About $10,000 to do something like that. And that would probably be a county forces type improvement. The ones previous would be obviously not county forces. That would be, we would develop a full plan set with all the engineering on it. It would be a contract, like a competitive bid contract.
It'd be capital work.
Yeah.
There's two ways we can achieve capital work. The way we're supposed to do it is bid it out. If it's under a certain amount, and we're allowed by the crowd board a certain amount of county force work, it might just be cheaper and easier for us to send our crews up here to do it than to go through the hassle of letting a contract and going to the council. And that would probably go under that threshold.
When were those projects pitched to you by this body?
There's correspondence back August 2015 is when we had the formal request.
Before that. This was ready May 2016. I know that we provided this to you in May of last year.
Yeah, it's distributed at the next meeting.
This isn't your fault, this is our fault. But that's, obviously we need to tighten things up.
And I think it was a broad brush stroke. It was the PRCAC really wanting to get a flavor for if we did a little bit or if we did just the full boat. Give us a range as to what we're looking at.
Like the question that we got from the audience a little bit earlier, how does the public know how much these projects cost unless we get a broad swath
that's
example?
right.
That was the purpose.
This is the example. You come up with an idea, we kind of flesh it out. Now, is there something is two of these look good, we need to do more, or hey, none of these look good, let's,
Jeff, I'm not sure what your concern is or question.
It's not a concern. I'm trying to be constructive. And I think that and I'm quite happy to volunteer to do it. But I think that maybe what we need, and I'm happy to volunteer to do it, is to have a single point person from this body to work.
Accumulate the project list from the community.
Yeah.
You're accepting.
Yeah. Well, to do, no, but I mean it, and just to give you a bit of background, I mean, the taxpayers, Mark referenced the Taxpayer Association earlier. The Taxpayer Association met last month and came up with a long list of some sort of blue sky, project ideas.
Great.
I have them here. I'm not going to give them to you because what I want to do is I want to table them for us to review as a PRAC board in early 2018. And then what I'd like to do, and that's not to preclude anybody's great ideas out on the floor, absolutely not. And in fact, I would ask, with your indulgence, Joel, that if you have a great idea, you can either funnel it through the Taxpayers Association, or you can write our
Comments at PointRoberts.cac.org.
You
You
say
can
that.
go to the voters meeting.
Go to the voters meeting or go to the taxpayers meeting and float your ideas, we'd love to hear those. And I think what I'd like to do, and I'm not trying to steal your thunder, but I think maybe the way to do it is, let's get a sort of a kiddie pool full of these ideas, kind of boil it down to, 4 or 5 ideas, and then I'll have to gladly work with both you gentlemen on this body, under the direction of this body, and feedback routinely so that, we're not having a situation where we're talking about projects when I had hair.
Well,
Going back.
That's a great approach.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely,
fine.
and that's the intent of kind of what we're here.
And then boil it down and say, gosh, you remember so-and-so you asked about that project? Well, that's gonna cost $1 million, ain't gonna happen. So rather than doing that now, we can sort of boil it down and we'll get to learn each other's moves a bit more. And we'll be able to say, as we learned just a few weeks ago when we had colleagues of yours up talking about the installation of a boardwalk in Lighthouse Park, and we thought, gosh, it's gonna cost $10 trillion to do this. We didn't realize what it was gonna cost. We didn't realize the county has to pay X amount of wages, and has to accrue for X amount of benefits, and has to accrue for X, Y, and Z. We didn't know that. So we're learning these things as we go. So this, as we learn, we'll be able to make more intelligent and more thoughtful recommendations to you, and we'll work better together.
So
I'm guessing that a lot of the projects you have too, I have old estimates for that we just need to update.
So before we go any further here, let's just nail this train of thought down here with the committee. Did you capture what Jeff said? Okay.
So what was different?
I'd like to make a motion that we, as a committee, adopt this process. Jeff as the lead, right? The process I've stated. I'd like to make a motion that we do that, and somebody second, and we can go back.
The only thing I would
He
ask,
volunteered to be the point person for communications, and he's gonna put all the ideas in front of us.
I just
All
want,
ideas are welcome, please go to voters, taxpayers,
Okay.
PRCAC,
I do have a
paper,
request.
give us your ideas.
okay.
I have a request. One of the problems that we've had up here at Point Roberts in getting things done for you folks is sometimes we're hearing different voices. And people will call up and represent you folks. And we'll act on it, and then 2 weeks later, someone else calls up and is representing. So I've had to go around and tell people, Joel is the president, and we should, if people call up and ask, we need to send them to Joel so that we can have one point of contact. So if we're going to have 2 points of contact.
No, it's gonna be Jeff from the new year on because he's moving into.
Excellent. That's what we need because when we get other calls from people who are going to send you. So when we get calls from other people than him, we're going to send you to him.
Yeah, by all means. And,
Good.
and next time I'll come to your house. That's really gonna make me along the.
No. So, and that helps if that way because we've gotten off in the left field sometimes because we don't know who we're talking to.
Yeah, no, it'll just make things faster and we'll understand each other better.
Quick question, or perhaps if you can give us a very brief idea of the parameters. I gather everything is traffic related, but does that include lighting? Does that include pedestrians?
Transportation related.
Okay.
Does that include
Transportation
lighting?
related is just.
Excuse me. Pardon me for interrupting you, but the regulation says the money can only be used for, quote, streets and roads, unquote.
Maintenance, construction.
Right.
It says streets and roads, period. Unfortunately, it does, because that doesn't give a whole lot of wiggle room.
I have the ordinance in my office. And I actually have the ordinance from here. And I've been in front of our legal folks, we've been through this very clearly. Anything that I can use the road fund for, we can use this transportation benefit. They're under the same, the County Road Administration Board that I talked about. If I use anything that, if it doesn't go for road, someone goes to jail, it's a felony offense. It's not just, and it's essentially the way that our lawyers have told us. If it meets the requirement of the County Road Administration Board, It'll meet the requirements of the PVD. So that is certainly pedestrians.
Lighting.
If it's lighting the street or pedestrians,
Traffic
that's
safety.
That's absolutely traffic
Marine
safety.
traffic?
No, that is not a transportation facility as defined by the state.
Signage, signalization. If it's a site distance issue, you can access that in.
One last question, because I know you're wrapping it up. But you mentioned shoulders and all of the things that surround that, mitigation and such. You said impermeable. I know that there are at least 16 to 18 permeable surface types out there.
Right.
Does that then back off on the things that you have to do?
Yes,
as a
but
causal connection?
those permeable surfaces, you'll find them in parking lots. You won't find them in public roadways.
But that's a general statement, so there's.
General statement,
in
there
that-
are some places, there is some potential for permeable. I would not recommend it there because one of the issues on EPA especially, because one of the issues is this eroding bluff.
But when
These
you
people
look at
aren't gonna
this-
want us putting water in the
But when you look at this, putting that in the mix. And drilling down-
Infiltration is always your first option,
Sure.
always. Infiltration is always number one. It's the cheapest and best. We probably won't be able to do it here because of the shoreline issues. I just
But there
skip
may be
that.
areas where these things are being done, where it is applicable, so you can offset it.
Absolutely. Just be aware when you add asphalt. Here's the deal, I've learned that, I go to a lot of public meetings and I'm an engineer. I've learned that sometimes I can sound like I'm throwing up all the reasons why you can't do something. It's not it. We're really good at building stuff. And you know how you build stuff? You identify all the hurdles. Because that's how you get over the hurdle. So in meetings like this, we'll show up and we'll start talking about all the hurdles out there. And sometimes here, gosh, they just talk about all the reasons why it can't be done. Please don't hear it that way. We're talking about all the things we need to do to get it done.
Things to address.
If you separate that trail or whatever from the roadway, how far do you have to separate it so that it doesn't have, you don't have to treat all of the water for the entire?
If it's a permeable surface, doesn't need to be near the roadway at all. I see it, to treat the road. If you commingled the water.
Yeah.
If you commingle the
If
drainage.
you had a sidewalk that, if you road here and sidewalk here and the sidewalk's tilted off this direction, that water runs off the sidewalk and never touches, no commingles with the water off of the roadway, and it is considered non-pollution generating impervious surface. And that is treated differently in the stormwater modeling.
And we look for all sorts of opportunities like that. But yeah, if you don't commingle.
Okay, guys, we're gonna wrap this up here in just a couple of minutes.
So I would mention that I would be happy to leave these maps with you guys, so if you want to use these as a tool in order to identify projects, this is the overall, this is a blow up of the map here down on Marine as it turns into Edwards in front of the park. So if you guys can identify that, there's also a map in here for ID and the other intersection on the map.
So Joe and Brian, just two more questions here. We have
one more. First Q.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Once upon a time, back in the 90s, Whatcom County, that I for years have called Halcombe County for obvious reasons, had in order to deal with the gas tax, which is what we call your fancy thing, in order to deal with the gas tax, they established a transportation district at Point Roberts. I wasted 4 or 5 years on that thing, and the county sent up someone from the engineer's office to attend the meetings, and we worked diligently, and they decided that they did spend some money to widen from York to Benson, which was seemingly well spent. But they decided that the best thing to do, the most logical and meritorious thing to do, would be to widen Benson Road, which needs widening, needs improvement, especially between Tybee and Mill. There's just no place to walk.
Let's reiterate with that.
And hardly any place to drive. So they decided that was what they were going to do. And what they did was spend money on Johnson Road. And so I think that it would be worth considering to improve Benson Road, at least from Tylee to Mill. And when you're talking about a roundabout of any size, over there at the end of Gulf and Marine, the last time I traveled over there, there was an incline, and you build roundabouts on a slope.
Yeah. It's one on our main highway.
And you would do that.
If it's safe, but we're not proposing that. You asked us.
No, but I'm asking you if it could be done, since you're considering it.
Well, we're not considering it. You asked us to look at it. We're not considering
Not me.
it. This group asked us to look at it, so we can.
Well, I understand, but I'm just asking the.
Money, oh, we can build anything with
Is
money.
it feasible to do that?
Absolutely, it would be. It might cost a lot, but it certainly would be.
There's probably better alternatives.
Yeah, we're not recommending it. Don't think we're recommending it.
I'm not saying you did, but I heard it mentioned, and I got to thinking, actually, what I was saying is, how in the hell could that work?
So they're saying it could be technically feasible, right? So
It could be done.
okay, yeah. So Ruby, do you have anything more for these?
No, I think I've said enough. I think we ought to everybody ought to take a look at Benson Road, at least from Tylee to Mill, because that really does need.
But not just to Mill, why not all the way up to the fire hall?
I'd like to see that. You have a fire hall there, you have a clinic there, you have a school there, Benson, those were some of the reasons that the transportation district, in cooperation with the county engineer officials, said they were going to do Benson Road, but that's what they said they were going to do, that's not what they did do.
I can tell you.
And that transportation committee had members from the taxpayers, the voters, the chamber, all the usual suspects.
If you came back and recommended sidewalks in Benson, I would go in and recommend to my boss, the executive, that we match that.
Well, I don't recommend sidewalks. I think Benson needs to be.
Shoulders, side, yeah, pay shoulders.
I think it
But
needs
that'd be one I'd be so behind, I'd go in and ask him to match it.
It just needs to be widened, period.
So hold on a second, guys. Thank you, Ruby. Mark was next, then Brian, and then Kenny has a question, and then we're gonna wrap this part of the meeting, because we still have another session we gotta conduct. So go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, so Joe, you mentioned early on that if a project is defined as maintenance, it's a little easier to slip it in and get it on the road and get it. Does the definition of maintenance preclude contracting for that work, or does it have to be done by?
No, we contract out maintenance all the time. There's some maintenance that we can't
So
do.
for instance, on Benson, where the county has now twice sort of improved the shoulder for pedestrians on the south side, but it's permeable. It's not any asphalt.
What that is I believe that's the the recycled asphalt pavement.
Well,
from the
I don't know if
county.
you ever used the recycled asphalt, but that was discussed. But in any event,
I believe we did, yeah.
and that has been improved at some expense years before that. And once again, the bush is growing in and the grass is.
Like I said.
So the question is, could gas tax money be used to pay for the maintenance of that and other improved
Absolutely.
shoulders, which are not impermeable? So to get around the drainage, it means that it's cheap up front, but there's ongoing maintenance to keep it
Sure.
maintained.
Sure, and that's one of the problems we have, is like on Benson and some of these roads, we have a shoulder, it's just not paved, so it's grass, and people don't walk there, and that's common around the county, and my understanding from our lawyers is, yes, that would be an acceptable
Well,
cost.
even though it's grass, if it were periodically leveled and cut very
Well,
short.
one of the issues that we have, everywhere else in the county, we can maintain those shoulders, we spray them. We put 1 foot, and we did those spray areas, so one of the problems up here is we have real problems keeping the shoulders from turning into grass. Unless they're paved. which would be a wonderful thing.
Thank you. So Brian, can you answer public works questions as well as engineering?
Sure.
Like ditching?
Sure.
So you ditch the point and you store the material at the work yard.
Yeah.
And as you know, we have nothing here in the way of topsoil, gravel, sand, nothing. It all comes in several truckloads daily, I would say.
Can't use that stuff, it's considered hazardous waste.
That's what?
It's considered, it's that ditching, when we pull that stuff out of the ditches, that is the same classification of waste as household waste. So no, we can't release it.
Who classified it as that?
That is what it is. When we suck those, all that stuff is a lot of that stuff is stuff off the roads. It's a state. It's considered, yeah.
Because we,
It's contaminated.
up until 5 years ago, we used to get it. We used to use it.
Yeah.
And now you take about 1,000 yards, probably 80 truckloads over to the county, probably costs 30 grand. And we can use it right here. I mean,
My understanding is that it's not usable.
Well,
And
so
if you,
who says? I mean, we can get it tested, and I'll bet you it is usable.
well, I can certainly look into it, but my understanding is that the stuff that we suck out of the catch basins and out of the ditches, because it's come off the road, is classified as a hazardous waste, about the same hazard as household waste.
And mycelium is classified as a remediator of that. So if you put mycelium in that same amount of soil, 1 year later, it's no longer hazardous and you can use it again.
Well, the heavy metals now, the stuff off of brake pads,
But by the same token,
it's the stuff off the road, it's the heavy metals off the road.
well, you're not taking it all out, so the stuff is still contaminated in your head.
I can look into it for you, but that stuff coming off the road is full of heavy metals, that's what the issue is.
Okay, Kenny? Okay, good. Okay, so that's it. Joe? Thanks very much. Brian, thank you very much. Okay, so, Susan. All right, so final item, we changed the agenda around a little bit, so.
Can I say one thing for
Oh, yeah, sure, Joe. Okay.
I left my card out there, we talked about stuff for the TBD. We'll never know your neighborhood as well as you are. If you have any just maintenance issues that need to be dealt with right now, let me know. I mean, I can send crews up. We have a person who will be stationed here this winter, and I want him to come to one of these meetings. He's a crew guy, so he's not a public speaker, so he's not real interested in it, but I'm hoping I'll introduce him to you so that you can have direct contact with your maintenance person up here. You don't, the TBD stuff is extra. Stuff that needs to be done, just let us know.
He's been doing great work here in the last year.
Okay, so, final item here is an open session. Does anybody have anything for open session? Renee? Yes.
I apologize. I thought the meeting started at 7 and I didn't check
I'm sorry, Renee, go ahead.
I sent an email to Joel and I spoke to Dave regarding a community cleanup idea on February 14, and I just wanted to I'll work more closely with Dave, and I kind of wanted it to be rain or shine except for snow, and we kind of call it like our Love Point Roberts on Valentine's Day, just because there's just an immense amount of trash. So I just wanted all the groups who are representative of PRCAC to, get on board. I think Joel said the voters are on board, and Dave said he's on board. And we'll just try and advertise it and get the word out, and we'll just do community cleanup.
Yeah, so just to let you know, voters, we didn't do it this past year, but we're gonna start doing it again this year. We do a once a year a litter pickup, usually in the May time frame. So we're gonna be doing that this year. We'll continue to do that. But I certainly think, personally, that the more cleanup efforts there are, the better. I mean, it ain't gonna hurt.
Fire cleanup does it several times.
Yeah, so what I would suggest is, as you said, is work with individual organizations, on what, your thing, however you want to, and we'll County pay for multiple? Okay.
Absolutely, any cleaning up of the roads, by volunteers, as long as I've got a form filled in, I can get the county to pay for it, it'll come under the, Washington County Solid Waste.
It's on a Wednesday, and we'll just try and advertise it, and whoever wants to come and help clean up, then, we'll just do it.
Okay,
So,
Yeah, the
Thanks,
best.
Tom?
You don't mind, or my streets.
So
we
given,
don't clean up after money.
given what transpired in February and throughout the year, I just wanted to say thank you to all the members of the committee for the work you do, because I think that was missed. And I have an inquiry more than anything, and that is, what do you, as the committee, see your connection being with the Chamber of Commerce, which is, in fact, the sort of commerce being economy, right? They are the body in Point Roberts, which is almost primarily directly connected with the businesses and the economic sort of churning of Point Roberts. How does the PRCAC see itself connected with the Chamber of Commerce? And how can it, if it is not directly connected, how can it better serve the Chamber and the community by proxy by building on that?
Well, you, what's that?
I think the chamber operates independently. I don't think that this board, as representatives appointed by the county executive and reporting to and making recommendations to the county executive, the chamber has a voice, that being me here on this board.
Right.
But I don't think there's any other push from CAC to the chamber or to any of the member organizations.
Right, and just in knowing what I know about the chamber and its present situation in terms of its budget or its fundraising, it might be worth looking at that if there is no real connection, that one be established. Because if the PRCAC, I'm just saying, if the PRCAC is the conduit to the executive of the county, then why not actually look for all of the possible connections where the PRCAC can actually work with the chamber to build the chamber and by proxy the economy?
We do that by default. David is the member of the Chamber of Commerce
Got it.
representing. So if the
I'm
chamber,
asking a question.
can I just finish?
Sure.
So if the chamber has a need for support of this committee, like any member of the public, he brings the ideas to this committee. There's nothing that's going to increase in our effort. If you have an idea and bring it to PRCAC, and we discuss it and bring it to the county, it's the same, has the same weight as the ideas that Chamber brings to us, or Voters brings to us, or the Garden Club brings to us. They're ideas this committee uses, first of all, our minutes. The council has access to these minutes. They know what we're talking about, they know what's important to us, and if we have a specific issue, we push it forward. So I don't know what you're asking for us to increase our efforts to support the chamber.
I didn't ask you to increase them, I asked you to look at them. What are they? And can they be revisited if they don't really go beyond having a member of the Chamber of Commerce on the PRCAC? I mean, look at the current state of things. If that's what it is presently, and it's not really highly functioning for the Chamber of Commerce, I mean, fundraising is at an all-time low, budget is zero. Can it be revisited in such a way that perhaps it does improve it?
We are looking into getting another economic development plan for Point Roberts. This committee is already working on that. We're working at.
That's a 3-year process. I'm talking
Okay,
about
but
an
if
area.
we are doing those kinds of things,
Okay, that's all right. I'm asking the question. I didn't actually want to get into one. I'm just asking the question because maybe some minds would say, well, maybe there are things we could find to work together on to actually build up, as opposed to saying, this is the way it is, and we're not doing anything differently, and that's the way it is.
okay, but I'm responding to we are doing those things that you're asking us to do. We are looking
So why
at
are
the
they still
economic
broke?
development plan. Because these are 3-year processes, you just pointed out. These processes do take some time, and we take the ideas to the county and to the Port of Bellingham and to these other places that we have to take these ideas and push them along one step at a time.
But on that point, sorry to interrupt, the, what do they call it, the hemp store here employed 5 or 6 people. And nobody went to them from either this committee or the chamber to the county as an advocate for them, hand in hand, to try and keep them here. And the county, I think, talked them into going to Lane. So we lost 5 jobs there. Apparently, the fellow with the Winnebagos at Joni's now, he made an offer down on Belcher's property, and he got such a hassle at the county that I don't know what he's gonna do, but he dropped the offer, he dropped the option. So he may leave. I don't know whether he will or not, but given the pushback he's getting from the county vis-a-vis zoning, development, requirements, nobody's holding his hand who has knowledge here to help promote keeping those 5 or 6 jobs in Point Roberts. So between the two of them, 10 jobs down the tube and gone over to the other side. So, you know, it seems like if we've got another idea, let's form another committee. Let's not cohesively pull all the committees together. We've got a plethora of committees. And I don't think we need them. We need more focus. I mean, we just got on the phone today on the Chamber of Commerce in
Birch Bay.
And you tell the story. You talked to
Birch Bay, I spoke with the vice president, and he gave me all the numbers from Whatcom County, what the budget was, who got what, how many years it took them, how many years they've asked for this and gotten that, and the run up to it. And he said, please come down Thursday night for a Christmas party. Please come back down Friday. We'll make time for you. We'll tell you exactly what applications we put in, how they didn't go well and what did go well. And I'm not even a member of any of these committees, but he has not been approached by anyone from any committee at any point in the last 5 years. That's why I'm bringing up this question. Isn't there another way to look at it other than the way you are looking at it? Because the way you are looking at it has you not getting funding from Jack Lowe's for a simple $500 request, has the Chamber of Commerce not ever having put in an application for the funding that is available each year for all chambers of commerce. And I'm thinking, okay, well, yes, these things do take time, but we're looking back at 15 years, and nothing came through in 15 years. Why would I believe that the next 3 to 5 years is going to be any different than the last 15? It's just a simple question.
So, Tom, let me just clarify.
Can you retool yourselves?
Are you asking these questions of PRAC, or are you asking them Chamber?
I'm asking it of PRAC because it's a PRAC meeting.
Okay, but they're...
I only ask, do you have a relationship with the Chamber of Commerce?
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
And how's that going with the funding?
Well, we don't have any funding.
It's not our job to fund the chamber.
No, I didn't ask you if it was your job to change,
Okay,
to
let's keep
fund
our
them.
voices down, please. There's no reason to get...
But it's all
excited.
pushback. I asked a question and it's all pushback.
No, we're trying to understand, Tom. I simply started by
Can you
saying,
improve the relationship so that you can increase the funding and the economic viability of the community?
we can always improve our relationships, but there is no funding relationship between this committee and any of the organizations that sit on the board.
Right.
If you got
That's a
funding,
problem.
if the chamber got funding, like Lane, Linden, Bellingham's over 300,000, I believe, from the county, and I think Lane is 10,000.
Mount Baker, 100,000.
Okay, but that's a chamber issue.
Now, so if something came up like the hemp store, and the chamber had funding, and they went to PRAC and said, come with us and help us save by your connections with Jack Lowe's, who's appointed a couple of you to this committee. You got a direct pipeline to him, and go back arm in arm to the county with some of the chamber's money that would give these people so they could operate properly. Give them $1,000 for at least.
Okay, well, let me put that story to rest for you. Can I put that story to rest for you? I worked for that hemp company. No amount of money from the chamber or county executive was going to change their move to Blaine. Let's just put that story right to bed. This whole notion that somebody from
Did you try? Did you try? The point
you don't
is,
understand the reasons why they moved.
I can think of all kinds of reasons why not to do stuff.
No,
I can do
the
that.
company
I can
chose
do that
to
all by
move.
myself.
The
I can do
company
that all
chose
by
to move,
myself.
Brian. And nothing.
We're looking for a proactive,
I
cohesive
understand what
unit
you're
to work.
saying, I just wanted to put that story to bed for you, because the chamber could not have saved that company from moving.
You're presuming that
What
they could
about
not
the
have
next
said it.
one?
I'm
What
one of
about
their
the one
senior
after
managers,
that?
I know the.
I got it, no, but it's a presumption, because you didn't have the money, so you couldn't make the fight, so that's not an
Well, it
option to
wasn't
looking
about the
into.
money to make a fight, that's what I'm saying, you got
Okay.
that story wrong.
All right. Well,
We have
I'm glad that I raised the
11,000 square
question, and I hope that in
facility
the future,
Couldn't do
that there is more cohesiveness to be found between the Chamber of Commerce and PRCAC, which is the conduit to the executive.
Okay, we're gonna hug and close this meeting, because I have another thing I'm supposed to be at in 12 minutes.
Okay. Thank you all. Meeting
Thank
adjourned.
you all for coming.
Hey, please remember, please, do your seats.
You know I would have gotten that.
I know,
I'm really good at that.
we actually have a preference for just because of the
Don't swear, Nell, I'm still taping.
We're not swearing.